Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I'm going to be talking about why I am personally saving aggressively this year. And there's two main points as to why I'm doing this. Now, what we see going on right now within the labor market and within the job market is unprecedented, right? Everything is changing with AI. People are getting laid off. It's taking a lot longer for people to be able to find work. There's a lot of uncertainty. Companies are recalibrating, they're doing quote unquote reorgs. They're trying to figure out how to get a more competitive strategic advantage. The jobs that are available today might not be available tomorrow. And with all this uncertainty, humans, Americans, right here in the US, are the collateral. A lot of people are getting laid off or they're devastated. They're blindsided by the layoffs, and this is disrupting every industry. A lot of people in tech, it's happening to, but I'm seeing it from people I know within the healthcare sector, people that work within HR, different professions, and it's real scary for some people. And so when I evaluate my life and I look at where I'm at financially, I've definitely done a really good job over the past years in, paying down debt. Done a really good job when it comes to investing and, maxing out, my 401k account, getting into an HSA account, doing Roth IRAs, all the things, right? All the good investment things. But where I've struggled financially, I think, is being able to build up a really good emergency fund, right? And as I've really reflected to think about why I've struggled in this area, I think it has to do with my mindset around saving, right? And I've listened to a lot of, YouTube advice, a lot of different financial gurus and advisors. You see stuff in social media too. A lot of people talk about why saving money is not the best or it's not the most optimal if you're trying to maximize your money, right? Because investing and putting money in the market, it gives it the opportunity to grow depending upon what you're invested in. Typically, if you're invested in safe investment vehicles, you can get anywhere from 7 to 10% return on your money. And so a lot of the advice is geared towards investing. And not a lot of people really place, I think, an emphasis on savings, right? And savings is the more boring kind of like part when it comes to finances, at least for me, because even if you're putting your money in a high yield savings account, right, the returns that you're going to get off of, you know, being paid out that kind of like interest is not so much unless like you have a lot of money. So you're really not having the opportunity to multiply your money. And when I think of it similar to kind of like sports, it's kind of like playing defense, right? And for me, I love offense in sports. I love seeing people put, points up, love seeing people score. It's more fun, it's more exciting. That's what investing's like for me. For saving, it feels more like the defensive kind of like approach and preparing for stuff that might not even like happen, right? And that's where I found for me it's been difficult to, keep money and keep a good amount of cash reserves away because I'm so busy trying to maximize and optimize like investing. I'm trying to get as much money as I can within different investment accounts. I'm trying to tackle down my debt as much as like possible. And then there's that kind of like middle area where I just don't have anything within like savings. And the problem that that creates is if I was to get laid off like today, or if my wife was to get laid off today, the reality is if I don't have enough like within like savings, I'm going to have to sell off some of my different investment assets, right? Which I don't want to do, right? And I think that kind of goes counterpoint. And so I've started to look at how saving can help circumvent that situation from occurring by having a good amount of money like parked aside. Now, for me, working in kind of like the industry that I'm in with the skill set that I have, I've kind of considered working to get up to a year's worth of money saved would be ideal, right? And I know that sounds like a long time. I think, different people say 1 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months. For me, we're just analyzing and seeing how much uncertainty is going on. I think 1 year worth of savings is a good target to have, which is going to be a lot of money, right? Because when I look at me and my wife's like take home pay, when I look at kind of just like our overhead, that is a lot of money to kind of like put away. But I think for us, we would have more peace of mind knowing that if we had that money put away and something was to happen, we'd be at least covered for a year. And it would give us a lot of time to be able to pivot. And when you look at a lot of the people that are getting laid off, it's very difficult for people, especially if they did not anticipate it and they don't have money like put away. because they're blindsided, right? And financially, their bills are still occurring. They still have to take care of their day to day things. And oftentimes, people have to jump back into work, and likely suboptimal work, work that's not within their industry, work that is below their skill set, work that's not fulfilling, work that they wouldn't like sign up to do in order to be able to get by. And really, like, I think if somebody was to get like laid off, and I've been laid off, and I'll make a separate video just on that. I was laid off a few years ago. I'll make a separate video on that and just how I kind of like recovered. um, there's a lot that goes into kind of like being laid off, right? And I don't want people to have to jump back into doing work, especially when you're, kind of like in a financial crisis after being like laid off, and you're kind of like emotionally hurt, right? Um, there's a grieving process that I think that needs to take place after you've been laid off, and there's some recalibration that needs to happen, and some strategy building that you need to build after you've been laid off. You don't want to have to jump back into just doing like meaningless work just to pay your bills, because it becomes so much difficult to bounce back from that. Like if you think about having to pick up a meaningless job just to be able to pay your bills, like you're likely giving up 40 hours plus of like your time. You don't have a lot of time to be able to really build something for yourself. And that's the benefit of having cash, right? If you have a lot of money and cash stacked up, you are going to be able to pivot really well, right? Like you are going to be able to um, sit back and analyze where do you want to go next with your life, and not have to operate out of survival. And that's what cash kind of like gives. And so when I look at the two things that are really pressing right now, the uncertainty around layoffs and the difficulty for people to be able to find jobs, it is very financially wise for people to stack up as much money as they can in savings. And you have to determine for yourself how much money do you want to have parked away. Now, holistically, when you look at this with like your finances, you also have to be tackling down your debt. So if you're fortunate to have a W-2 job right now and you do have debt, even if you're not liking it, you're not feeling fulfilled, you want to leave. If you got debt, this is an opportunity to tackle down your debt. This is also an opportunity for you to be able to put money in savings. I'd also say that people should be taking advantage of investing too, right? Like you can't just be so um, gung ho on saving that you're not finding smart, safe ways to be able to multiply your money. Because when you just run the numbers on the math, and we understand like inflation and the rising cost of just living across everywhere within the US, you need your money to be multiplying as well. But um, I would stay clear of people that are advising you right now not to have money in savings. I think people that have followed that kind of like those talking points and follow the people that are positioning that, um, I think you're playing a very dangerous kind of like game, especially if you have a lot of overhead. You have a mortgage, you have rent, you have bills, you have things that you have to like take care of. If you don't have anything in cash reserves, you're likely going to have to be selling off kind of like your assets, which you're not going to want to do, or you're going to have to pick up meaningless work or struggle really to kind of get by. And you can financially ruin yourself and set yourself back if you don't have enough in cash reserve. So I'm going to continue to document on this channel kind of, my journey through saving, give some savings kind of like updates as to how much, cash I'm saving and have on hand. But this is really like the first year that I've been intentional when it comes to my finances and saving money. Again, I love to invest and I love to pay down debt. Like those are my two kind of favorite things to do. So it's not that I'm bad with money and I don't have anything like available. And I do have a little bit of cash on hand, but not quite where I have a comfortable nest egg, a comfortable emergency fund if something tragic was happening, right now in my life, such as getting like laid off. So that's it for today's video. If you like the content, hit the like button, subscribe. I'm going to continue to be dropping videos daily, just documenting my mindset, my journey around, personal finance, different things that I'm reflecting, different things that I'm navigating. I'm trying to offer some advice and really building a community here of people that want to be financially disciplined. So, hope you found value from the video. Have a good day. Take care.